Disney appears determined to find a new place for Jimmy Kimmel once he loses his place as a late-night host on ABC. This time they're trying him out as a game show host. But folks, what if we told you he's pulling in something like 20% of what Regis Philbin did on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire 20 years ago? We've got the details, we've got the stats, and we'll show you how hard the media is working to prevent you from ever knowing what we can now display. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to yet another whirlwind tour of what's really going on in entertainment. As we get ready to dive in today, consider clicking that like button. We'll get underway. And folks, thanks for coming our way. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a VIP article over on thatparkplace.com, but we are pulling back the curtain so that you can read it even if you're not a VIP member. It says Jimmy Kimmel ratings for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire are shockingly bad as media run cover. Now, we're not typically talking about game show ratings, but in this case, because the media is so desperate to save Jimmy Kimmel, this is too delicious. And before we get started, I just want to say, you might not know this, but Who Wants to Be a Millionaire that Jimmy Kimmel is hosting right now, it's made entirely by Jimmy Kimmel's production company. I didn't know he had one, but he does, and they're running it. It says late night television is an endangered species, and we have more evidence that the hosts are the culprits to blame. It turns out that Jimmy Kimmel is just as bad at being a game show host as he is at being an end-of-day comedian, according to the ratings. Sadly, it also appears that the media is doing everything they can to rewrite the narrative. When Who Wants to Be a Millionaire premiered in the U.S. under Regis Philbin in 1999, I don't know if you guys know this, but there were less people on the planet then, and in the United States, it immediately became a cultural and ratings juggernaut. Its initial primetime run averaged 14.4 million viewers. And guess what? It rose to 25 million viewers by the next month. At its peak, a single episode on May 2nd, 2000 drew 35.6 million viewers. The 1999 to 2000 season ranked the show as ABC's top-rated series. So how's Kimmel doing today? How is Kimmel doing? Well, before we get there, let me just say that yes, I know the Millionaire episodes dropped a little bit, down to 16.9 million views. That's still phenomenal. But in the summer of 2025, now with Jimmy Kimmel running the thing, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire has a premiere score of 0.38 in the rating for adults 18 to 49 and drew 4.24 million viewers. By the way, after that, it dropped lower into the 3 million viewers. That is barely a fraction, less than 1/4 of the original first run totals. Comparing 35 million viewers in 2000 to just over 4 million today shows a dramatic collapse in audience size. But folks, lest you say, well, pro viewing habits have changed. The Price is Right is on during the day on CBS. It's not primetime. Primetime is where you want to be, baby. The Price is Right is averaging 5.38 million. Drew Carey is outdrawing Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Kimmel's on primetime with celebrities. You're not seeing celebrities playing Plinko or the mountain climber, although they should. So how are the media outlets covering this? Well, let's take a look at the headlines. Disney put out a press release, and here's what it said. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire season premiere is the #1 entertainment program of the night across all key demographics. Can I parse that out for everybody? When they say it's the #1 entertainment program, do you know what that means? Panel, do you guys know what that means when they add an extra adjective? What does it mean? It wasn't the #1 program, Lou. They had to put the word entertainment so that they could give it a #1 because it wasn't the #1 program, right?
Well, it's becoming a more important word too, you know. Did you see what happened over on The View? The FCC said if you're going to call yourself a news show, we are holding you to higher standards, and you're walking a very thin line to being canceled. If you want to call it entertainment, that's another story. So that matters. But I would suggest to the geniuses that put this guy in charge of a show where a major factor of the show is something called phone a friend, they should have picked somebody who has any.
Well, let me tell you why he doesn't have many friends. Take a look at that next headline. Jimmy Kimmel challenges Trump to come on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That's the next headline. So, folks, if you thought that Jimmy Kimmel could go over and be a game show host and cut out the politics and just do the darn show, he can't. And that's why the scant ratings are there, no matter whether he's a late night comedian or doing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Ron, give us your thoughts on Jimmy Kimmel flailing and failing, and yet the mainstream media is running a cover-up, it appears to me, trying to hide that he's pulling 1/4, and really, honestly, it's more like 1/5 after the premiere. He's running about 1/5 of what Regis did 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, first of all, gosh, I have to say that just from a personal point of view, as much as I'd like to be a millionaire, I wouldn't go on the show if he were the host. I'd be like, you know what? I'll give up the $1 million to not be in the same room with Jimmy Kimmel these days. And the funny thing is, I actually remember a time when I thought he was somewhat kind of funny. When this was a long time ago. Not some of the stuff was offensive. It was the man show. Some of it was funny. A lot of it was offensive. But Jimmy Kimmel was much more funny back then than he is now. And now he's just so over the top, far leftist in politics. And
it's more elemental than that, Ron. Yeah. Back when he was funny, irreverent, borderline blue, he didn't take himself seriously.
Yeah.
Now he takes himself so seriously that he doesn't know how to be funny anymore. He should be repeating WWRD. What would Regis do?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's funny to me that we have a higher population. There's now streaming involved. You've got Hulu there. Everything is available for them to get great ratings on this. And instead, they're pulling less than The Price is Right, just a standard episode. And it's not as if ABC and Disney did not pull out all the stops to try to get this thing to do well over the summer. This is filled with celebrities, and the celebrities are there for charities. Like Matt Damon is on there doing Celebrity Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And maybe that's actually not the greatest idea, because maybe people want to see real stakes, and you got to have real people up there that $1 million means something to them. It doesn't mean anything to Matt Damon, so maybe that's part of the calculus. Whatever the case might be, Jimmy Kimmel's in charge of it all because his production company's doing it. Fake Wizard, get in here, man, and weigh in. What do you think about the idea that Jimmy Kimmel is testing the waters to jump ship, and turns out he can't swim anywhere?
Well, firstly, it just makes me miss Regis Philbin that much more. Like how far we have fallen with the just regular TV network programming. It's pretty sad. I remember watching all of the Regis episodes. So this is hitting me right in the feels. Jimmy Kimmel is not. You take the politics out of it, take his slant out of it. He's not a nice guy. Like his shtick is not welcoming to general audiences as much as he thinks he is. He's kind of got this candor with his guests, even on his own show, where he kind of digs on them a little bit. It's kind of a stabby form of comedy. He doesn't. Whereas you have somebody like Fallon who just overly laughs all the time. Kimmel is kind of he teases them, but not in a nice way. It's not a playful tease. So I can't imagine, general audiences wanting to see him do anything else, especially with something like this that has stakes to it. He's not the kind of guy that I think should be hosting a show like this at all. I never would have thought Jimmy Kimmel, host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, whereas you had Regis, who is like a real person with real people. So this isn't going to last for too long. I can't see it lasting for much longer.
Lauren, I used to do a pretty good Regis Philbin impression. It's been 20 years since I pulled that one out, so I would be hesitant to try it and fail. But Regis was somebody who had what would you say? Regis was instantly likable. And in fact, I've known people who were on the Regis and Kathy Lee, and they said that behind the scenes he was the same way. He would stop by the dressing rooms, he would hang out, he would talk with you, and he was just kind. It didn't matter if you were the custodian, if you were the person who was going to be on the show, the big star. Everybody got treated well by Regis. Jimmy doesn't seem to do that with America. He's lost the heartland. I suspect that when he comes out and says that he's daring Donald Trump to come on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire so he can try to embarrass him, I think it's because he may be jealous of the Apprentice ratings from so long ago. He wishes he had those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about Regis, I think the mark of a good host in a lot of cases is that no matter who the guest is, they make the guest look good. They make them look interesting. They promote them in a way that is good for the audience and good for the guest. And if you don't mind a slight critique, I don't know who wrote the article that you're reading now.
If you didn't like it, it's somebody other than me. If you do love it, maybe I, said the duck.
So the one thing that I want to critique the article about is you said that he's an end of day comedian. You should have used he's an end of days comedian.
I'll take that critique. I was sweating there for a minute. I thought, oh no, if Lauren's critiquing you, he's caught something. So I feel much better.
There's probably a big manual somewhere about how to be a popular TV host. I guarantee you, rule number 1 is don't show your contempt for the audience and the participants. And this guy's humor entirely comes from holding everybody else in the world but himself in contempt. And people feel that. I mean, you would have enjoyed going out for a beer with Johnny Carson. You would have with Dick Cavett. You would have with, name him. Not this guy. Not this guy. The big question is, if his nighttime show gets canceled, is this over too?
Well, I think his nighttime show is going to be canceled no matter what. We're doing the shuffle somehow. I don't know what's happening here, but there's quite a bit of shuffling going on here on the deck.
Yeah.
We'll get that fixed, folks. But first, I'd like to bring on somebody who it has been a long time since we have got to hear his thoughts on various opinions and news. We're going to bring him on, and he's just hopped in, so I need to let him know that what we're talking about right now is Jimmy Kimmel has begun hosting Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and his ratings are 1/4 to 1/5 of what Regis Philbin had 20 years ago. So it doesn't look like Jimmy Kimmel is going to be able to easily transfer on over to something else once they kick him out of late night. Ladies and gentlemen, who could be at the door, and who am I very excited to see? Let's find out.
Who could that be? Let's go.
Let's go see, boys and girls. It's X-Wing. He's here.
I feel like I did not deserve that nice of an intro.
You do, sir. You do. I promise.
I
X-Wing, you and that beautiful, beautiful stash. I feel like, Santa Claus in the Rudolph movie back from the 50s where he says, that beautiful, beautiful nose. What I feel like with that stash, man. Burt Reynolds would be jealous of that.
All I can say about that stash is, Peepaw, eat your heart out.
Yeah, talking about Pedro. Peepaw Pedro Pascal.
Take it.
All right, X-Wing, it doesn't look like Jimmy Kimmel's going to be able to easily transfer over. The only one of the late night hosts that I think could jump ship and get another show is probably Jimmy Fallon. Who do you think that might have a good shot at it? And do you think that's the way this is going to play out? Or do you think maybe like Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, and Jimmy Kimmel just have to go to MSNBC and CNN and live there?
Yes. I still think it's hilarious how Jimmy Kimmel continues to try to hide the fact that for the longest time in the world, all he did was drink beer and watch boobs on trampolines. And he's like, no, I'm totally different now. And panders to the woke crowd. It hasn't worked out for him. Well, to be fair, it has worked out for him. He's made a lot of money, but this stuff is dying out, and it's dying out rapidly. And you see, as the ship is sinking, more people are hopping off the side and scurrying like rats just to find anything they can sink their claws into. When it comes to late night hosts, I don't know that I care for any of them anymore, really. I don't watch TV anymore.
Right.
Much better to watch independent entertainment.
Well, let me show you guys something and we'll see if we can make this happen. Let's see if it'll allow me to do this. There we go. Jimmy Kimmel, and I'm going to put this up on the screen, and I don't typically do this. I don't typically show celebrities' families, but he put this out there on social media. He's very proud of it. Jimmy Kimmel recorded the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire episodes in one weekend. According to the reports, he did it in 2 days on a weekend, and that was the extent of his participation. Now, he may, as the head of his production company, maybe he had some meetings and things, but this is what he's been up to while he's on his quote-unquote summer vacation, like a kid in school. While he's on his summer vacay, he and his family are posting on social media him taking his kids out with posters that say things like "Say no to spray tan man." This is not a guy that appears to me who cares one iota about ratings. I think that he is totally delirious with TDS, and all he cares about is that. And any company that puts him on needs to know that the priority is not ratings. I don't think he wants middle America to tune in. What do you guys say?
It's virtue signaling like everybody else. He wants his friends with the cool kids to remember he's still one of the cool kids. That's all that matters to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely in the Hollywood bubble, right? And, you get points for outwardly, I don't know, resisting the Orange Man and so forth. So he's definitely the top of that totem pole. There's nobody to boot him off that pyre right there.
But as far as doing this over a weekend, Pro, that's about par. 5 shows a day, a couple days, and you're done for a couple of weeks for all game shows.
Well, so the thing is, though, this is such a short-term thing. They literally knocked out all of the episodes in a weekend. And so that's fine. What I'm alluding to is that he put in his 2 days, and then he went right back to doing the same stuff that drives away audiences. Like he's not going around and promoting this thing right now. He's often somewhere sunny with his family, making sure that the Orange Man might, click on his picture for 5 seconds and go, "Oh, crazy Jimmy."
This
And
picture's
as
like
far as-
Lizzo
as far as-
hosting The Biggest Loser. It's just hilarious.
Hey, that would and Jack Black could do it with her. But look, as far as his production company having the show, that's the network giving it to them, and that's about taxes. That's about if we pay you to be Jimmy Kimmel, it's your income. But if we give your production company a slot, that's how Everybody Loves Raymond happened. HBO owned Ray Romano from all of his TV specials, and David Letterman's company, Worldwide Pants, had we'll give you the next pilot as your show. And so the two of them came together, those two companies, to do the show. So that's pretty common. Yeah.
They also cast the cast of Everybody Loves Raymond was utterly likable, though. And still to this day, they're all such likable people.
And certainly Patricia Heaton is not in line with Hollywood politically at all. So, that says something too. But
can you bring back up the X post, Pro?
I hesitate to do so, Ron, but for you, sir, for you, I'll make it happen.
No, I was just looking at that and thinking, okay, how does this family discussion take place? Hey, kids, want to go to Disneyland? Do you want to go to Universal? Do you want to go to a theme park? Do you want to go on vacation? No, we want to protest. I'm like, what? How do you encourage your kids to protest for their summer vacation? Let's hold signs and show how obnoxious we can be.
Well, for all we know, at whatever left-wing private school they attend, they're getting extra credit. So,
that's a good point. Oh,
well, I'll tell you, that makes the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota look like a fun time in comparison. Go out there, folks, and get your kids and put your cardboard signs up and march for a while, 3 hours or so, and see how that goes. AKA, they're going to remember and have problems when they speak with their therapist later in life and say, "This is what they made me do. This is what they made me do." All right, folks. We gotta run, but Jimmy Kimmel has the media cover for the time being, but don't think for a moment that the executives are missing out on just how many people they're missing out in the audience. Folks, it's time to bid you adieu, but we hope that you will help us anew, and that is, we're only asking you click that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. And oh, by the way, have you gone the way of thatparkplace.com? www.thatparkplace.com. It's the website that if you're not yet bookmarked to, well, you should be. A bastion of truth and knowledge when it comes to entertainment and everything that's going on. Go check it out today, folks. We would love to have you over there as well. All right, we are getting ready to head out, but do not fret, for we will put out 4 more videos tomorrow, so long as the good Lord allows. And we believe that probably, just might, happen. All right, until the next time we get to share time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Jump into the water.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun. Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.